Fel'annár had just turned into a dragon and flown over a world he hardly knew. He should have been on his knees, jabbering nonsense to the gods, but all he could see was the haunch of roasted meat on the table before him, the way candlelight caught on the juicy, glistening skin. He reached out, ignored the pain as he burned his fingertips on his steaming prize. He could hardly feel it as he pulled off a leg, watched in barely contained fascination as the tender flesh flaked away from the bone, soft as warm butter. Fel'annár had never been hungrier in either of his two lives. He wrapped his lips around the meat and closed his eyes, not before showing the whites of his eyes to his table companions. His eyeballs rolled into the back of his head, nostrils flaring as he began to chew, slow and hard. Squarias Dantor and Ezra watched the spectacle, shock warring with disbelief as they ate their own meals, far slower than their new brother, beside whom Ortalan munched happily, his characteristic frown gone, replaced by the joy of one who knows he is free at last. "Did she tell you herself, then?" Commander General Dantor chewed steadily as he waited for Ortalan to enlighten him. "No, but I can feel it. My guiding light is no longer trapped. I am no longer exiled from Beleren. My liminality is returned." Fel'annár could only assume his grandfather was talking about Arya's punishment, the one she had imposed on him for breaking the rules and bringing Fel'annár back to life when, rightly, he should have died over a century ago instead of just weeks past. He was grateful for Ortalan's disobedience, for the children he would later have. His hand stopped midway to his mouth, the face of Talonor appearing in his mind, looking back at him placidly, patiently waiting for a day Fel'annár knew would come, the day he had resolved to live for, his Judgment Day. He shuffled more food into his mouth and chewed a little too fast. He swallowed hard and breathed deeply. "Have you finished?" Sarcasm dripped from Squaria Ezra's words, like the grease from his meat, leaving Fel'annár to wonder whether the question was ill-intended. He decided it was. "No." He reached for the bread, tore a chunk off, and stuffed it into his mouth, sending crumbs all over the table, bright blue eyes fixed on his fellow Squaria, one-time trainee captain and his antagonist. Fel'annár had pummeled the snot out of him, and had endured his own punishment. As for Ezra, he had lost his incipient command and was now a base warrior, just like Fel'annár himself. "So, are you going to take up your position as second-in-command?" Fel'annár spoke through the food in his mouth, but it was articulate enough for Ortalan to understand. The general turned to his grandson thoughtfully. "I made a promise." Dantor stopped eating, reached for his goblet, and drank, watching Ortalan from across the table. "I won't force you to accept if you don't want to. You know that."